And we're back. Yes, Tuesday we did the NFC side. Now we're doing the AFC side, of course, the better side. My favorite team. I ain't gonna speak too much into it. What happened yesterday is very tragic, just a sad case. But we're here to talk about football here today. But before we get into it, we gotta introduce two special guests. One guest everybody knows. He's our 12th grade administrator, Mr. Hernandez. Introduce yourself.
The big man, Mr. H. Brown's backer from every Packer, like this is how we roll in my house. Wife's from Cleveland. So we're inherited the Browns there from her love of the city and the town. My boys are brown and orange bleeders over here. I was a Washington Football Club fan for a long time, but too much strife over there on that side. So, I appreciate the Browns and what they mean to the city of Cleveland and what they've meant to the city of Cleveland. It's great. It's a better organization than we've had in the past. And I think we're going in the right direction. So AFC's got some of the best football being played right now. I think it's going to be a challenge across the board, regardless of what division you're in. But on Sunday night, let's go Browns.
Nice.
And our second guest, Mr. Ellis, you can introduce him.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you today to Mr. Jesse Casito. He's a legend in the Northeast Consortium around here. Jesse and his family are pretty famous here in the Burtonsville area, I must say, for exhibiting the kind of traits that we want to see in any kids that come out of Burtonsville and move on to the rest of the world. Jesse not only helped to create mentoring programs at Benjamin Banneker Middle School and Springbrook High School, but he has continued that into his life's work now in Knoxville, Tennessee, and works with a young men's group as a life's mission, and ministers over a group of young men that are most impacted by things like what happened yesterday. And so he's out there doing some really important work in the world. He also works in a homeless shelter in Knoxville, Tennessee as well. He's also an artist, poet, a writer, performer. Jesse's a total package. So he's also a big fan of our show, which we love too. So we welcome you, Jesse, and thanks for spending some time here today and bringing some Steeler rep today.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It's definitely been an exciting couple of weeks just watching you guys all season. I look forward to every broadcast you guys put out. And yeah, as Mr. H said, this is probably some of the best AFC football I've seen in a long time. And being a Steeler fan, even though I live in the DMV, is kind of interesting, but it's a toss-up. You have a good amount of teams that are definitely prepared and qualified to bring home the Lombardi, but I would love to see number 7 in that Raptors against the Steeler Nation.
Well, we're not going to waste too much time until we just get into the picks. And since we have a Browns fan and they'll meet their inevitable fate losing to the Steelers, well, might as well just go to the Browns and Steelers game, of course, and obviously. So we got the Cleveland Browns going to Heinz Field to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh has a 6-point edge over under 47. Essay, what you think?
I called the Browns fake from the beginning. I'm not going to switch now. I don't believe in the quarterback. I believe he's inconsistent. I don't believe now in the playoffs, in his first playoff game. Do I expect him to now to prove me wrong? No, I don't. This is going to be an easy one for the Steelers. The Steelers have been disappointing in the end of the season, but if you look at the Browns, I've so many holes in Baker. You literally look at that offense, which has talent, but he's shown up in weeks and he's also shown out. Against the Ravens, he played amazing. He played much better than I thought it would. And he looked like he was going to win that game, especially in that final drive where he looked amazing. But there's games like the Jets games, and there's where he looks like he's disappearing. The Broncos game, you don't even know if this is the first round QB Baker Mayfield, but the Steelers would do what they did to him earlier in the season, and I think it would be a big win for the Steelers. 27, I'll say 31-21 Steelers.
I think you're a little too nice over there. This is easy. Pittsburgh's winning for a couple reasons. One, it took the Browns everything they had to beat the Steelers when their starters were out by 2. Big Ben was out. TJ Watt was out. They had guys injured. I think Robert Spillane's coming back this week, and that was a big part that Pittsburgh missed because they had Avery Williamson out there, and I don't think he knew what he was doing at the time. He was still learning the Pittsburgh playbook. They're getting guys healthy, and Big Ben has not looked really well since he's been playing a long period of time. Now that rest may help him, and then not having Stefanski. I've said this for a week. That's the main reason why the Browns have been relevant, and would not be a surprise if Pittsburgh bounces them out the playoffs again. Let's look at the last two times the Browns were bounced out. Who bounced them out? I think Miss Ellis knows who that team is. 2002 was the Steelers.
Indubitably.
1995 it was the Steelers. Would not be surprised if the same happens in 2020. Sorry, Brown.
94 too, right?
I mean, not 2020. Yeah, 94.
94.
Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised the same result happens in 2021. I mean, Browns, you had a good year. I'll give you guys your respect where it's due, but it's Mike Tomlin versus I don't even know who your special teams coordinator is. I'm sorry. It's a top 3 coach versus I don't know who the other guy is. I'm sorry. It's just a mismatch. And knowing that the Steelers did not show all their cards and almost beat you guys, it's not good. Like, it's not good. And Browns fans, don't get your hopes too up. Don't get your hopes too high. Don't let it be 2002 and then you guys don't see playoffs for another 20 years. So I'll be quick. I'll say Browns. Oh no, I'll say Steelers 31, Browns 17. Mr. Hernandez.
SA, Emmanuel, I appreciate your words of wisdom and your naysaying. I will say that, hey, listen, I have a lot of Steeler fans as friends. Steelers haven't been on a great roll recently. If we must say that 3-game losing streak, including to the Washington Football Club with Ben Roethlisberger at home. Come on, guys. There's a lot of inconsistencies there. Given the Browns do play to the level of talent. So that's why, they played the way they did against the Jets, the Broncos, and so forth. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. All I'm saying is that is a true statement. They do play to the level of their of the team that they're playing, level of the talent. That's unfortunate. I think, if everything were to, I think it's a close game. I think I get the Browns by 3, only because of the inconsistency of the receivers. For the Steelers dropping so many balls, they've gotten a little bit better, but that's because they spent 45 minutes out with tacky gloves before the game, just trying to learn how to catch a ball again. And let's be honest, right? But offensive line, sure, we need to struggle, but we've been struggling. I get it, but you put the ball in Chubb or Hunt's hands, they're unstoppable. I mean, we saw that time and time again this year. 2 almost 1,000-yard rushers on the same team, that's unheard of in recent times. And if we put the ball in their hands, I don't think that we can be stopped, quite honestly. I know Watt, you've got Watt, that's great, but so what? So what and what, right? I mean, that's one man. You got to look at the other gaps that are there. So I've got the Browns by 3, right? 24-21.
This is kind of interesting because both, like what Mr. Hernandez said, both teams are inconsistent. Both teams, not just the Browns. The Steelers have shown, Steelers went 11-0, and they just, they kind of, fell off. I wouldn't say fell off, but they didn't play the best of their abilities, and that is because of their run game. Their run game is non-existent, and it's been showing. And if you can't run the ball, you can't win games, and everyone knows that. I do think the Steelers win. I think Steelers win in a close game, but I wouldn't count out the Browns. I think the Browns are a good team, but I don't know. I think hopefully Baker is up for the task. Hopefully he doesn't treat this as a regular season game, because this is I think this is his first playoff game, so he's got to show up. He's got to show up. As simple as that. I trust the Cleveland defense. They've been great all season, so I feel like for the Cleveland offense, you put the ball, like what Mr. Hernandez said again, you put the ball in Chubb and Hunt's hands, then they're both special, and having both of them is just crazy. So I'm gonna say Steelers win a close one, 28-24. But hopefully I just want to see a close game, and hopefully Baker's up for the task, because I would want to see it.
I got the Steelers winning this game just a little bit over the edge, 28-21. If the Browns let Mason Rudolph dot their defense up, you guys think Big Ben will? Deontay Johnson looking like Deontay Johnson. Chase Claypool going up for the ball. I love seeing that because I know that people are like, yeah, Big Ben makes receivers look good, but Chase Claypool is actually a very good receiver, what Mason Rudolph did. He has a good catch radius. You can throw it on the left, right, up, anywhere. That man will catch that ball if it comes to him. Steelers are playing great football again. They played a Browns starting team and only lost by 2 with no QB. Again, Mr. Hernandez is right. He did say that you guys they do play against, like, if the opponent is trash, they will play trash. If the opponent is good, they will play good. But I can't wait for this Sunday night. I got the Steelers winning 28-21. Baker's gonna go 0-1. I hope you guys are good next year because I love how all 3 of our teams in the AFC North made the playoffs, and that proves that AFC is better than NFC.
Kind of echo some of the points. Mr. H, definitely watching the Brown running game this season has been remarkable. I don't think we'll ever see something that we witnessed this year with 2 running backs almost both having 1,000 yards. But the key thing that I've seen with Baker Mayfield throughout his entire career, even in college, is when it comes to the big games he chucks, or when it comes to those big moments, who can he rely on? And obviously not having OBJ is definitely going to be a key point. So we're going to have to, focus our targets on trying to stop the backfield. And you're right. TJ Watt is one person, but we've shown countless times this season for guys stepping up with all the injuries that we've had. Going into this, our running game has been atrocious. We haven't had a running game at all, but I feel as though Mike Tomlin, James Conner, and everybody will kind of bounce back from this. And I see Pittsburgh pulling it off 28-21. If not, it'll be a last-minute, 2-minute drive with the Browns, and I feel like Minka will somehow do some Minka magic and pull off an interception. So, good luck again.
Yeah, this is a really interesting game to call. In my opinion, these are 2 teams that both play down to their competition. You can see in the Steelers game against the Bengals, they didn't really play that well, and that's because they were playing down to their competition. And you can see with the Browns, like how they played against the Jets, even though they're missing 4 receivers, I think it was, they still played down to them. You can see the contrast between that game and that amazing game against Baltimore. To me, this game comes down on Baker. We already know what Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt can do. We already know what Jarvis Landry can do. This is on Baker. This is if he can step up in prime time, like he's capable of, because we all know Baker is talented. I've been hard on the Browns and him all season, but Stefanski, I feel like he's really brought the best out of Baker, and you can see it this season. The tendencies he has, always focusing on the first read, not releasing the ball, being hesitant. Those are going away a little bit. He's trusting it. He's letting the play come to him. So I don't know. This is a tough game to call, but I'm gonna go with the upset here. I have the Browns winning this one in a close one, 24-21.
Wow. Well, what's left to say? I think it's going to be a typical Steeler game script that's been pretty much this entire season, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 games, which is first quarter, you don't score because you don't have a running game and you don't get off the ball. We don't have anybody in a 3-point stance. We're all just standing up the whole time. So, we're not getting any push. But what I did see in the game last week is I saw some windows for James Conner. And when Kevin Dodson's out there playing, he's awesome. And just ask Olivier Vernon, because he pretty much ended Olivier Vernon's season on that one pull where he absolutely clocked him. And that's when you saw him go down. We need a mauler like that. David DeCastro has not been that mauler on the right side this year. He's been awful. Marquise Pouncey missed a couple of games with COVID. He's still not fully back. This line is not great. And the Browns did get a little pressure last week on Mason, but he did a good job of getting the ball out quick. But I think you'll see that the Browns actually held back a little bit too in this game on Sunday. Every coach plays with fire, and Stefanski is no exception. I mean, I think that they held back on a lot of plays too. I'm a little bit worried with Joe Hayden being out. that the drag racer, Rashard Higgins, is going to drag race himself right past Justin Lane on a 3rd and 17 when we're in nickel. But at the end of the day, it's going to follow typical Steelers script. We'll be down 10-0 after the first quarter. We'll get a turnover, get a late score at the half. We'll be tied 10-10 at half. It'll be tight down to the wire. I think we score to get it to 26-24 with about a minute and a half to go. Baker's got all 3 timeouts. And here comes the ghost. Goes with the traveler. Minka the traveler is going to find his way to pick off one of those slant patterns, just like he did in the first game. And I'm sorry, Mr. Hernandez, but in the words of the great Eddie Murphy, it's uns, Tice, fee times a matey for the Browns. Pittsburgh 26, Cleveland Clowns 21.
Now we're gonna go on to arguably the most interesting game in the AFC. We all know what it is. We got my Ravens trying to get their revenge and going to play Derrick Henry and the Tennessee Titans. Now, to some people, this is a shocker, but crazy enough, people are wondering why. How come Baltimore's favored? Well, Baltimore's favored by 4. Over under 54.5. That's it.
Well, Baltimore's favored because they're the better team. The Titans have too many holes on defense. Too many. Baltimore, many people are doubting them, and I think this is the year Lamar will get his first playoff win. This Titans team, is not the same Titans team as last year. And they may have some role, but you could see against the game against the Packers, that defense was getting shredded up by Rodgers easily. Devontae having an amazing game, 3 touchdowns. You saw Aaron Jones have 94 yards, get hurt, and Jamal wasn't playing. And the 3rd string back gets over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. This running offense for the Ravens will have an amazing day against the Titans. And I could see this game easily being almost so much like the Titans Chiefs game last year in the playoffs. Titans defense cannot hold this Ravens offense, and Lamar will have a really good game. I see the game being, I'll say 35-28. I'll say 38-28 Ravens, and Lamar gets his first playoff win after a couple bad games.
Honestly, I could honestly see this game as a blowout. It's a mismatch to me. The only thing that's really making the Titans really be in this game is Derrick Henry. To me, that's really about it. Because he's really what forces you and forces the Titans to really be as lethal as they are. Because everyone's focused on him. That's why against, I think, the Packers, that's remembers that 50-yard touchdown Ryan Tannehill had on that scramble, because you have your whole team trying to stop him. Well, the first matchup, if anyone wants to know this, yes, he did have 130 yards, but he got 100 of those in OT and like the last 6 minutes of the 4th quarter when we were gassed and tired. And mind you, we didn't have Calais Campbell. We didn't have Derek Wolfe healthy, and Yannick was still learning. And those are the guys we brought in for a specific reason, to slow down Derrick Henry enough. Now, Calais will be healthy. So is Derek Wolfe. Yannick now knows the system, and we're getting Jimmy Smith back in coverage. So that should help our defense. I just don't see the Titans being. If they do, I don't know what to say. Titans might as well own us. I don't know. We have to get one on them, because if Derrick Henry assumingly owns Baltimore, I guess Lamar Jackson owns Tennessee. So for that reason, I'm calling Baltimore to win this handily, hopefully. And Harbaugh is 6-3 on the road. This is set up perfectly for the Ravens. Baltimore 35-17. Mr. Hernandez?
This one's tough, right? I think you guys have hit on some great points. I think after last year's breakdown, Lamar might have a little chip on his shoulder, but at the same time, still in the back of his head that he didn't quite get it done the year that he was the MVP. That's still a stinger. That's a heart stinger, right? In my opinion. But listen, if the Ravens open up the center of that line the way they've done when Lamar's in there and he has that straight run up the middle, I mean, we've seen time and time again, regardless of any team that he plays, if you leave that open, even when Robert Griffin was playing for against the Steelers, that hole's open. Any quarterback's going to run up that middle, right? And Lamar's probably one of the best to do it. I mean, he's doing some things that are uncanny. You know, I mean, in my opinion, he's probably one of the best quarterbacks out there right now playing the game, just because of the intangibles that he has, not just from throwing the ball, but from running and being able to make people guess what they're going to have to do. But I think that there is that in the back of their heads that these are the Titans. We were heavily favored. It was at home, and they just came in and steamrolled them, right? I know that the Titans aren't what they used to be, but Derrick Henry, you know, he's not worried about the personal stats. He just wants to win, and he's going to do whatever he needs to do Saturday night to get that done. I'm going to say it's 42-35 Baltimore. I hate to say that because I don't like the Ravens, but you know, I think it's going to be closer than what Emmanuel, than what you said. 42-35 Ravens, but it's gonna be a dogfight in my opinion.
I also have Baltimore. I feel like, you know, they have that chip on it. They have that chip on their shoulder. You know, this what you know, if you guys forgot what the Titans did in the regular season when they were supposedly dancing on the Ravens logo and John Harbaugh came onto the field and we're like, yo, that's disrespectful. Don't do that. They have that all the back of their head, you know. Lamar's gonna come out and he's gonna come out and firing. You know, this Titans defense just have too much holes in them. They don't have a good run defense. They don't have a good pass defense. They don't have a good defense in general. And yes, they have Derrick Henry, which is, of course, he's gonna get his yards. But let's not forget if the Ravens had Brandon Williams and Calais Campbell in that regular season game, they would have won. And simple as that. I have the Ravens winning 38-24. I feel like Derrick Henry is gonna have a good game. Ryan Tannehill is gonna struggle, and hopefully Greg Roman lets Lamar be Lamar, and uses his legs. You know, number 27 on the Ravens, that boy J.K. Dobbins, he's gonna have a good game. He's gonna have a great game. I just have a feeling. 38-24 Baltimore.
Yeah, I agree with everyone. I mean, first things first, happy birthday to the GOAT. Lamar Jackson's birthday is today. Happy birthday to him, you know. I hope he gets his first dub just because of the media, man. Like, they just attack him. Like, imagine just getting attacked and attacked with so much accomplishments that he's done in his young career. But got the Ravens winning this game. I think it will be close, 35-31. I do believe they'll be up 31-28, and we do score a touchdown the last drive to win the game. I believe it comes down to that, and I believe people will be shut out when they say that Lamar can't win a 2-minute drive with his arm, and we're gonna win this game 35-31. Just know that we were up 21-10 first half against Titans without Brandon Williams, without Calais Campbell. We held Derrick Henry to 36 yards. Again, as Emmanuel said, he got all his yards in the fourth quarter and overtime. That long run in overtime got him his 100. I best believe we're stopping that man because we know that's the only player on their team that can eat and that can disturb us into losing. We stop Derrick Henry. We guard AJ Brown, Corey Davis. We just have to play football. Coaching staff, please let Lamar be Lamar. Don't make him throw 59 times like you did last year. Doesn't matter about stats. Just let him be. Just let him be. Just let him do what he does. 4th and 1. If he says let me stay on the field, let him stay on the field like he does. Let him get the 4th down. We got to win this game 35-31 in Baltimore.
All right, Jesse, next.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough game. You know, my brother being a Ravens fan, those Steeler Ravens matchups would have been something to watch for. But watching these two teams play this season, I've seen a few things, and one thing is Lamar has to be Lamar, as you guys have echoed. If Lamar is only contained to being in the pocket and doesn't be able to scramble out and check out of a pass play to a run play or play action, it's going to be difficult. But we've seen this season that the Tennessee Titans defense is not that great late in the game. They relied too heavily on Henry. They relied too heavily on the throwing prowess that Tannehill has. And, A.J. Brown has been lights out all season, but there have been moments where you're supposed to be the number one wide receiver for your team and you haven't been present. I feel as though Lamar will reclaim his MVP form that the Ravens took into last year when they basically did the same thing, went undefeated for the remainder of the season. He's hungry. That Ravens team will be healthy, hopefully by then. You guys have had some huge blows on defense and on offense throughout the entire season, losing, majority of your offense to COVID. Lamar hopefully will be fully ready after suffering a few games out. And the fact that you guys almost beat us, the Steelers with a second team, and then Lamar came back and, did what he had to do. So it's just great to see that as far as the Titans, Derrick Henry is a threat. No matter what, no matter when, at any given moment, if you give him a hold, he's taking it 80 yards and touchdown. It's going to be a shootout, but I think my home team, which is funny enough, being a Philly fan, my home team is the Ravens, I feel that they'll pull this out 45-38. It's going to be a great game, and it's going to be a fast-paced game. And I feel as though it's going to come down to a turnover. Who has more turnovers, and which defense can keep each other off the field first.
Yeah. If you look at the past two playoff, the two games against the Titans, the Ravens haven't been able to play turnover free. And I feel like Lamar said the Chiefs are kryptonite. We have a problem with the Titans. I think that's all a mental thing. If you guys remember the first play, not the first play, in the first drive the Ravens got, they stopped Henry. We're driving down the field. What happened? Mark Andrews off his hands, tipped. And after that, the momentum changed. This team is built on momentum, and this team is built on people making the right play at the right time. And when that doesn't happen, they need to be mentally strong. I feel like this year, all the losses we took, the Steelers, the Patriots, trying to think of the Chiefs, it's really prepared us mentally. I think we're ready to make a run this postseason. I feel like the keys to this game is the corners. If you guys remember the game in the regular season, Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters were getting torched. 3rd and 10, slant to A.J. Brown. One person hit him. Second person hit him. Still not down. Third person hit him. You got to make those plays when it matters. And I think we're going to be ready this time after the Ravens winning this one 38-24.
Go a little rogue here on the pace of the game, and I'm going to say that this is AFC playoffs, and I think it's going to be a lower scoring kind of affair. The reason I would say Steelers will be in the mid-20s is because they're going to play catch up. But I think in this game, Vrabel always has something up his sleeve, in the playoffs. Again, being a Belichick, mentor, he's going to come out there with something completely different on defense. I mean, I think about the 2016 Patriots phase, and you remember, of course, they had like a historically bad defense. Yet they went into the playoffs and they gave a completely different look, and they walked to a Super Bowl and won it. We can look at the Super Bowl they had after that. Of course, beating Kansas City 2 years ago. In Kansas City, all of a sudden your running game was terrible all year. All of a sudden, you literally ran it every play into the end zone for a touchdown in overtime to win. So I think Vrabel has a little bit of that in him. So I think they're going to try to slow the game down a little bit. Actually, try to get some stops on defense. I think actually the Titans are going to go into halftime with a lead. I think the Ravens, that's not a comfortable position for them. They like to get ahead and then unleash the D. This game, they're going to have to fight for everything, but I think they'll get it done ultimately. I think Justin Tucker lines up for a 46-yard field goal to close the game. I got Baltimore 22, Tennessee 19, and the ghost of Joe Nedney hopefully will not arrive for Tucker. But I tend to think that this is going to be a win for the Ravens, but it's going to be low scoring and close.
For this last game, due to time, we're gonna have to be a little bit quicker, but we got the Indianapolis Colts, the old man Phillip Rivers, going to the new man, Josh Allen, and the Buffalo Bills. Bills are favored by 7. Over under 52. That's it.
I think this is going to be a good game, mainly because Josh Allen has proved a lot of people wrong, including me. Earlier in the season, he was an MVP candidate, and I thought he was going to really drop off big time near the end, and he's done pretty well near the end. And this Bills team last year was a couple minutes away from winning the playoff game against the Texans if it wasn't for Watson pulling off some magic on that crazy sack play. And this year, I think the Bills are top 3 team, not in the AFC, but just in the NFL. You take away from the Chiefs, Packers, and next up are the Bills. They got a great defense. Diggs is playing amazing this year. He's done amazing with Josh Allen. You have Josh Allen doing amazing in general, and I think this game will be down to the wire, 37. I'll say not a really high scoring game, but I'll say 35-31. And the Colts, Jonathan Taylor is doing amazing. He's what, top 3 back in rushing yards? I think top 4. Wisconsin back, and the Colts running game is pretty well is improving. I think this game could be probably the game of the week. And I'll say, like I said, 31-35 Bills.
This is a hard game for 2 reasons. I don't trust Phillip Rivers in the playoffs, and I don't trust Allen in the playoffs because last year he melted down against the Texans. He was up, I think, 19-0. He really melted down, even worse than I could say even what Lamar Jackson did. It was even worse. Um, but I have to pick the Bills on this just because of Phillip Rivers, because Josh Allen's young. He can make plays out of nothing. For the Colts to win, they have to script their whole game and just win. Because when they have to improvise, they don't win. Like the Steelers game or the Ravens game. First half they had us beat, but second half the adjustments came in. Phillip Rivers didn't know what to do, and then Baltimore and Pittsburgh are not improvising, and it's a whole different game, and we come out and win. Um, you know, if Josh Allen loses this, he'll get the same pressure Lamar's getting now, of course. But I don't see them losing this game. Josh Allen will be 1-1, hopefully. I got Buffalo winning by a touchdown, 28-21.
All right, I'm gonna listen. I think the Bills have a chip on their shoulder. The city has a chip on their shoulder from when they went to 4 straight. Had the 4 Super Bowl appearances and didn't win it. Back to Frank Reich. He's meeting his old team. Greatest comeback in NFL history. Down 52 points to the Oilers at home. Frank Reich comes in, boom, brings it back just like he did back at Maryland. That's in his mind. The city's in his mind. I think the Bills are too strong of a team. I'm agree with SA. They're probably a top 3, top 2 team in the NFL. They're hitting on all cylinders right now. So I'm going to go with the Bills by 2 touchdowns. I'm going to say, let me do my quick math. 35-21.
I'm also going with Buffalo. I feel like I don't know, Indianapolis is kind of like a weird team, and I I feel like Buffalo does also have a chip on their shoulder. They want to, prove everyone wrong. Yeah, just that offense is really nice. I mean, Josh Allen, they have Stephon Diggs. The Colts defense is they can put pressure on Josh Allen. He might fold under pressure. I don't know. We'll see. I do have Buffalo though. They're the better team on paper. They've proven me wrong this season. Even though I did have them winning the AFC East and I did have them missing the playoff, I didn't think they're gonna go 13-3. They proved a lot of people wrong, including me. So I'm gonna say 27-14 Buffalo.
I got the Colts winning this. I think this is an upset. I feel like Phillip Rivers has like more what is that? I forgot the word, but like he's like been in the playoffs more than Josh Allen. He just has the experience. That's the word. He has he has more experience than Josh Allen, in my opinion. And I feel like Josh Allen. I feel like that team is one dimensional. People say that they have a run game. In my opinion, they don't. You stop Diggs, you pressure Josh Allen, he's gonna throw picks, and he can. He's the dude that is inaccurate. He's been accurate this season just because Stephon Diggs' catch radius. Like he can literally just throw it up or throw it anywhere, and somehow Diggs will appear on the screen and just catch it. And you stop Diggs, you pressure Josh Allen. That's how they're gonna win this game. Defense will win this game. Yes, offense has to score points, but I see 2 turnovers from Josh Allen, a fumble and a pick. Coach got this game 28-21.
Yeah, this is one of those games where it's kind of tough to say. The experience factor from Phillip Rivers is definitely going to be prevalent. But we also have to understand the Chargers, when Phillip Rivers was there, have not been in the playoffs in a long time. Phillip Rivers has been around the league longer than most people would want him to be. Has a great tenure as a quarterback. and he has weapons now with the Colts. But you were right. That Buffalo Bills team is a top 3 team now in the NFL. And, as much as I want to discredit Josh Allen, I can't take away from what he's done with that team. Them picking up Stephon Diggs was a great addition. To be able to do what they've done back-to-back years and come back to the playoffs, I feel as though it's going to be a nail-biter. I'm going to go with the Bills taking this one again, as they did last year. And I'm going to say final score. It's going to be a pretty low-scoring game. Going to be a bunch of defensive stops on both sides. Might come down to a field goal. I'm going to go with 28-25 Bills.
This is a tough game to call. A lot of people bash Lamar for his playoff performances, but I don't see that hate with Josh Allen. Props to him for an amazing year, honestly, but that breakdown last year against the Texans team that really had no defense is inexcusable. Like Jesse said, the Bills went out and got talent for Josh Allen. They got Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley stepped up. The offensive coordinator, Brian DeBoer, I think that's his name. He's just amazing. His chemistry with Josh Allen has been amazing, and he's bought out all year. But this is a tough game to call. The Colts run game is incredible. You saw Jonathan Taylor go for 200 yards last week. And I felt like this Bills team, they're really good. They're top 5, but I feel like they're just a little bit overrated. I said this before on one of the podcasts. When Josh Allen faces teams that have like somewhat of a talent in the secondary, like you can go back to the Chiefs. You can go to the Titans, I think it was. He hasn't really performed well. So I'm going to go with him, barely win this one, 27-24 Bills.
Well, I know it's been a long drought for Cleveland, but it's been a long one for the Bills too. And that drought's going to continue because I think they're overrated. I think they've kind of been the darlings this year where they've kind of caught everybody at their worst. Whether it was the Steelers, you catch them without Vince Williams, out for COVID, without Joe Hayden, no Spillane. And then, you have 3 other guys drop off in the middle of the game and we're down to practice squad guys playing in the second half defensively after we dominated him in the first half. Absolutely dominated him. All you got to do on Josh Allen is get pressure over the middle. He's going to crumble and choke. Josh Allen is going to lose this football game. Frank Reich's a much better coach than McDermott as well. Frank Reich's been to the promised land. He's been an integral part of winning a Super Bowl, beating, one of the greatest players and teams of all time in New England and coaches. And I think he has a huge coaching advantage in this game. Big heartbreak for Buffalo. A lot of Buffalo men with bellies full of bubbly that are going to be jumping on tables and falling through tables at the end of this game. I'm sorry, Buffalo. The misery continues. Indianapolis 28. The not-so-buff Bills, 17. Their run defense stinks, too. Jonathan Taylor and Hines are nasty.
Well, we would like to thank Jesse and Mr. Hernandez for joining us this week, and I can't wait to see this week of football. I really hope, out of all things, my Ravens avenge their playoff mistake from last year and get their revenge tour going. I hope so. But we'll see on Sunday, and we'll be back here next week to talk about the divisional round, and we'll see who's left.
Hey, wait, we missed one thing, though, FaZe. Can we see something? The one thing that none of us want to come back next week with, just real quick. You got it there? What do none of us want to return with? Oh, there it is. The dreaded L.
That L right here.
Well, I say he's a lucky one.
No one wants to come back to.
Oh, the stripped down leg lamp. Yeah, brutal.
I say the lucky one.
Gentlemen, thank you for having me.
Everybody.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Thanks,
Do good,
Hernandez.
be good.
Thanks to you. Thanks, sir. Thank you, Jesse, for everything, man. You guys, tremendous.
Thank you,
Thanks for
guys.
being here. Thanks for being world changers, too, guys. We appreciate it. Take care, everybody. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.